Welcome to the Swim Swam podcast. I'm today's host, Coleman Hodges. Joining us today, he is the new swim and dive head coach at Georgetown University. He has made coaching stops at Virginia, UNC-Wilmington, and Auburn. He was a swimmer at UMBC, and once again, now he is leading the Hoyas. Today, we are sitting down with John Carroll. John, thanks so much for joining us. How's it going?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Really excited to be here.
This episode of the Swim Swam podcast is sponsored by Commit Swimming, Swim Swam's exclusive team management software partner. Since 2015, Commit has been providing coaches with swimming's leading workout management software. And now, Commit has team management software too. Commit wants to help you make the switch from Team Unify to a simpler, more powerful solution. Their onboarding and customer service team will walk you through every step of the way. Check them out at commitswimming.com to book your demo today. That's COMMIT swimming.com. We got to bump into each other at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville at Ken Ono's Velocity Swim Camp this summer. So we got to reconnect there a little bit. And you got to tell me this news that you are now at Georgetown as the head coach. So first of all, what was exciting to you about this position? What enticed you about it? And ultimately, why did you accept it?
Yeah, no, great questions. I was not exactly sure that I wanted to leave the University of Virginia after this past season. I've had a great last 2 years there. I've had a great experience working with some really amazing athletes, obviously. I have always kept in the back of my mind, though, that I want to be a head coach at a program someday. When this opportunity arose, I was definitely not really even sure too much about Georgetown, but definitely was intrigued because ultimately one of my goals was also to be in the Maryland area to coach. So it's funny because I just reached out to our associate AD, Pat McCardle. His work number was just available. So I gave it a call and said, hey, I saw that the position is open for the swim and dive program. I'd love to just hear more about it and have you kind of give me some more information. So that's what started the process. And from me not knowing about the program too much to knowing as much as I have today, it's been amazing to kind of be in this process and get things and understand everything that's going on with the program. So it's been a whirlwind last couple of months, to say the least. But I'm loving just everything about Georgetown so far.
I'm just curious because I think with coaching, it can go a lot of different directions. And I think most people are like, oh, you work your way up the coaching ladder and then you can be a head coach.
Yeah.
Is there a specific reason why being a head coach for you sounded appealing, particularly at this time period? I know you mentioned wanting to coach in the Maryland area, but you've made a few stops now. You've worked with some phenomenal athletes, phenomenal coaches. What made now a good time, but also just why a head coach instead of, an assistant working under some really, really smart and respectable head coaches?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I definitely have been around coaching for almost my whole life. Everybody's been a swimmer since they were 4 or 5 or 6 years old. But yeah,
we start young.
Yeah, it's a young sport for sure. But I grew up in a swimming family. My parents both swam. My dad has been a head coach and been a club coach for almost his whole adult life. So he coached me in high school.
Where's he the club coach at?
He was the head coach at Jersey Wahoo Swim Club for like over 30 years. And now he has his own club program, Blue Wave, in New Jersey still. So he's still coaching.
Yeah.
So I've been around coaching my whole life. He coached me in high school at Jersey Wahoos. And so I've been involved and experienced that a lot so far in my life. So even though I still consider myself fairly young, I've been around coaching. I've loved those relationships that have been formed throughout my life, like I said. So even when I was getting into the college realm and I was an assistant coach and I was knowing that I still needed to learn a lot from a lot of coaches, I still always had the back of my mind that head coaching is ultimately what I wanted to do. And because I felt like I could really, reach out and be able to help athletes in the most impactful way as a head coach. So, I always lean back on my college experience days where I met my wife through swimming. I met my best friends through swimming. So I just want that experience to happen to other athletes as well. So have a great college career and great experience. So I knew I could make that impact as a head coach. So I still have a lot to learn. I feel like that in a lot of ways as a coach and X's and O's, but again, this opportunity came up. And in my mind, you can never not be more more prepared to be a head coach until you are in it. But I feel like, I had to jump at this opportunity for me and my family. And again, I feel like I still have a lot to learn, but I'm excited to learn on the way. And I have a lot of great mentors that I've been part of in the sport, head coaches at other programs, my dad, all kinds of other mentors that I feel like are going to be able to be a support and help me along the way.
Yeah. I love that you said that and had the awareness of that, because I feel like every head coach I've talked to, or every, assistant coach, new head coach, it's like, I don't really know what it's going to be like until I do it. Right.
Yeah.
and it does seem like one of those positions where you just kind of got to jump in and get your feet wet and then learn on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I assume many coaches have that philosophy of being lifelong learners. You're never going to stop that process, but you can start it. And for you, you're starting it now.
Yep.
So what has struck you about the Georgetown, specifically swim and dive team so far? You're about 3 months in with this position, but obviously the season is just getting kicked off.
Yep.
So 3 months in, just focusing on the team, what has struck you about the conversations you've had, the athletes you've been able to meet, the support staff that is there, or you've maybe brought in so far?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I've been struck by a lot of really positive things about this team so far. I'll start with just the athletes. I've met them, like you said. I got officially started in July. Today is day one. Practice is day one in a couple of hours. So
all right.
It's really real right now. But I think the first thing that jumped out to me is it was just such a warm and welcoming environment. The swimmers and divers were really ecstatic about me being hired. And, I felt a level of maturity from this team from day one that I was really impressed with. Obviously all college athletes are fairly young and, they have, they're definitely can be childish at times and in different ways, but I was really impressed that this team's level of maturity when it came to the academic side and the athletic side. It's just a hallmark of Georgetown as a campus as a whole. So, but for a swim and dive team to be, so just, they just get that you need to be just a great person and a great leader to be able to go on after swimming and be successful in whatever they do. So, I've been really impressed by the team's maturity through the summer. It was an interesting summer for the team because we didn't have a lot of people on campus just because of the transition time between me and the last head coach. So, for me, the challenge for the summer was to connect with them just over the phone or over Zooms or FaceTimes, and just kind of try to understand them as much as possible and for them to understand me. So I definitely have had a lot of conversations with our captains so far. I felt like that was obviously the group that should understand me the most right away so they can kind of help me lead this team. And so, yeah, the level of maturity from the captains, they were like, John, we got this. We can talk to the team. We know they know a lot of this already, but we'll back you up and we'll help you out. So I felt that from the get-go. So really impressed by their maturity and their prowess academically and athletically. And the guys team is in a great spot right now. They have won the last 4 Big East conference championships, which has been great. And they look strong over the next couple of years. So that was really impressive to me. And then our women's program is right there. They've been getting 3rd or 4th place in the Big East over the last couple of seasons. And, looking at the team and looking at where our strengths are as a program on the diving and swim side, I'm definitely excited and feel like, they have potential to grow a lot. So, I think overall the team is in a really good spot. Kudos to the previous staff. Jack was the head coach here for over 10 years. And then Sam Milligan is still our assistant coach. I've retained her on our staff, and she knows the program so well because she was a swimmer on the team, and then also has been coaching her here for the last couple of years. So the expertise around me has been really impressive, and definitely feel like it's helped me a lot with this transition.
So I always find this pretty interesting. I spent some time in New York about 4 years ago. I've lived here now for a year, and I'm from the Midwest. I've lived on the West Coast. I lived in Texas, and it's so the balance between athletics and academics for just certain parts of the country is I find to be a wide array, right? And especially on the East Coast. And maybe this should have been more obvious to me, but you go to the Northeast, and where all the Ivies are, and people are very academically minded, right? And coming from a world where all we think about is swimming, I was just like, what do you mean you don't care about swimming in college? Or like, what do you mean that's secondary?
Yeah. Right.
And so I'm just curious, you said there's a lot of academic prowess. They are focused on that as well as their athletics at Georgetown. So what have you found is kind of the balance for them there, or just how they approach being a student athlete? Because again, I feel like it's a pretty big range, just depending, maybe not even the area, but depending on the university. So what have you discovered in that regard at your time in Georgetown?
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many options at Georgetown. It's so cool that people have all these different avenues of academic places to experience, to immerse themselves in. So, it's funny because I think it's just the type of athletes that we recruit, but, even recruits can see that and feel that, and they get really excited about that. Because I'll give you an example, but I think we have about 4 different poli-sci programs at Georgetown, which is,
I guess that makes sense for DC, but still, that's a lot.
But when I thought of, oh yeah, Georgetown has poli-sci, I'm sure they have a really good program, and they have one program, and then I find out they have 4, and I didn't even know that until a recruit told me. So it's just, there's so many opportunities, and there's being in a big city like DC, being so involved with politics and government. There's just so many cool avenues to experience at Georgetown. We have our own medical school. We have one of the best law schools in the country. So, not even just as an undergrad, but as a graduate, going to graduate school or going to med school, you have opportunities to, really have such a unique and cool experience on the academic side. So I think our recruits and I think our team really see that and thrive off of that. We have a great and really tight-knit swim and dive program, but overall, the whole university, it's not that big of a school. It's only 7,000 undergrad. It does feel pretty close-knit. It feels like you meet people just even just outside of the swim and dive team, athletics is a huge part of the campus as well. There's over 700 athletes, so it's over 10% of the student body. So it does feel tight knit, and it feels like you can immerse yourself in more than just the athletic side. So yeah, I think our team really thrives off that, and you just lean into Georgetown so much while you're here. You just really take it for all it's worth and all the great things that come with it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, that's cool. A lot of poli-sci, which again, you're in DC, it makes sense. But I was just having an argument, I guess, with someone in the Swim comments about this. I was talking about Berkeley specifically, but just the connections you can have, or you could make in the Bay Area by going to school there, right? Or the opportunities. And it's like the same with DC. It's the same with so many metro areas. And like the alumni that you could encounter while you're at these schools that have prolific alumni or their students go on to do, good things with their careers or successful things with their careers. It's like, again, people with my mindset are just like, you go to college, you swim.
Yeah.
Cause I do swimming, I work in swimming. That's my job. But it's like, you have to remember that these student athletes are going to school in large part to, jumpstart their career and to build a foundation, to start a foundation for the rest of their lives. And to go to somewhere that offers so much and so many different opportunities where they could go on to flourish. It sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'll give you another example too that I thought was awesome by our team, and just the connections, like you said. DC I think is great too because it's so close to major cities as well. It's so close to Philadelphia and New York City, obviously, Boston. So we get a lot of people from those areas. But one cool example that I walked into this summer, I think it was even before I got started at Georgetown, but we had a number of athletes that wanted to take a bus up to New York City just to interact and alumni and with, Fortune 500 companies and big time people at those companies. So, I think about 15 to 20 of our athletes went up there and just had a great day and just made all kinds of really cool connections and learned a lot about the process of working in a place like that. So I think I heard about that and I was like, wow, that's really cool that they wanted to do that themselves. That wasn't directed by our staff or anything like that. That was something they wanted to do on their own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Best part about living in the Northeast, public transportation, everything is accessible by bus, by train, certainly by plane if you want to do that, but you don't have to.
Yep.
It's it's really nice. And that is super cool. Again, just that all those opportunities are there and that they are looking for them and going to take them. How big is the team in total?
Sure. Yeah. We have about 57 on the team, I think, this year. So we got 28 guys and then about 30 women. So diving team, nice, strong diving team right now. We have 5 guys and 5 girls.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So in terms of you getting your feet wet as a head coach, you're 3 months in. Obviously, today's practice number 1, so you haven't had any official workouts yet. But what's been the most surprising or challenging part about this stint so far?
Yeah, I think just coaching is the love of coaching is usually being on deck and interacting with the team and having those conversations and helping them grow as athletes. So I think the challenging thing, I think a lot of other head coaches would say this, is just definitely getting into the nitty gritty on the admin side and trying to understand all the things that why things are done the way they are at a certain school. So I think even through my experiences and being assistant coaches at other places have given me that opportunity to see how other schools function and how they do things. So, but every school is different. So walking into Georgetown, it was definitely really important for me to get to know a lot of different people within the department and have it's a team effort. So kind of getting them on board with my vision and having them understand, what we're looking to do with the swim and dive program. So I think just getting stuff ready for the start of the year and doing all the things to kind of catch up, because, even though I was announced in May, I didn't officially start until July. So it just felt like, once July 7th rolled around on day one, there was just a lot of different things thrown at me. And it's like, this has got to be done for the fall. So, So, just kind of getting things and trying to understand the flow of how things work on the admin side. So, and then, part of that challenge is like, you want to do that. You do that stuff during the whole year anyway, but at least you got the team and you got the practices and everything going on at the same time. So, I've been missing that. So I am definitely really excited to finally be on the pool deck and get things rolling with the team. So nothing major on the challenge side, but more just learning all the background things that you need to do.
Totally. Right. And that, I feel like that's every collegiate head coach I talk to. It's like, I didn't realize there was so much paperwork. Right.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. There's a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross.
I always tell people, like, if I'm doing something, I feel like the last few months, if I'm doing something, I'm not doing something else. So I'm getting behind somewhere else. So it's like, sweet, I finished this thing, but now I'm behind somewhere else. So just playing a lot of catch up.
lots and lots of catch up. Yeah, I'm sure. You didn't realize that this was going to be a job interview, but now it is, because I want to know, as a head coach, what are you bringing to the table? What you get to drive the ship. You get to have your, be at the helm of this program now. What are you excited to instill and implement after, all these different stints at big swim programs where you got to be an assistant and learn under someone else's leadership?
Yeah, that's man, there's so many things to be excited about. I think big picture, I think, again, like we've been talking about, Georgetown is just such an amazing university. There's so many opportunities. There's so many ways that you can grow as a person, and really take on the next step of your life. With that, I think, our team is in a good spot. Like I said, too, our guys are winning conference championships. Our women are knocking on the door. I think, for them, the next step will be the win conference on the women's side as well, and hopefully have a dynasty going on both sides. But, I think, I keep, thinking about how, college athletics is changing and, we got to be self-sufficient and all that. That's definitely going to be really important. But I think, even with the way the rosters, the limitations are going on with other schools, like we are in a good position to capitalize on that and get stronger as a team. So I feel like we're going to be able to, get stronger recruits and get stronger as a program over the next few years. And I think, the sky's the limit. And I think for us, the next 3 years are going to be really important, all the way in through 2028, and going to trials in Indianapolis. So I'm not guaranteeing that we're going to have like an Olympians by 2028 here at Georgetown, but I don't think there's any reason why we can't, pull strong recruits and get excited for long course and get excited for, having swimmers qualify for the meet and going to Indianapolis and, representing really well with Georgetown. So there's no reason, I think, why we can't have 5, 10, 15 swimmers on both sides of the program qualifying and representing. So I think that's a great big picture step that I think this program can take. I think I feel like the word is getting out more about Georgetown as a swim and dive program. Because even though I've been around the block a little bit, I've been at UNC-Wilmington, I've been at Virginia, I've heard about Georgetown and I've heard that it's a really good academic school, but now I want it to be known as the academic school and the swim and dive school, and that it's a really great school to, be an athlete at, and showcase it even more. So I think it's kind of like a hidden gem, and that's why when I was getting into it, the process and the interview process, I just kept getting more and more excited. I was like, this is even better than I was kind of picturing and imagining, and so I think we just have to keep getting the word and communicating that out. through social media, through whatever means, to recruits and to people to showcase why it's a great place to go to school.
Yeah. I think you may have just inadvertently answered this.
Yeah.
With putting an emphasis as a college coach on long course and on national / international racing, but you've made stops at Auburn, UNC Wilmington, and Virginia. You've been a part of national championship teams, conference championship teams. What do you feel like your takeaways have been from these programs? And honestly, the question I want to ask is, what's your favorite?
Yeah, I've had a little bit of a different, back and forth a little bit. Auburn, is the intensity. It was all in basically on, like you said, like long course,
SEC,
the whole season, and yet SEC, and UNC Wilmington. It was a little bit different. We had the summers at the beach a little bit, so that was pretty nice, and that helped in a lot of ways. UVA was obviously very ramped up and very intense in different ways as well. But yeah, I really do like the balance aspect. I like the balance, that Georgetown brings on the academic and athletic side. I went to, a school down the road, UMBC, and, it felt very similar to that when I was going through the interview process with Georgetown, is that, you can be really successful at both. You can put an emphasis on both, and be successful at each. So I think that's definitely something that it is hard to do at certain places. So that's why I do like the thought of leading this type of program, because I do think that, it'll feel enriching on both sides, not just, swimming is great and going best times is great, but I want to see people go off and do great things in the world and hear them doing cool things 5, 10, 15 years down the line. So yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a good fit for me. It's a good fit for my family. It's going to be nice to have a little bit of an off season ways, with like July and August, and have opportunities to kind of take a step back and not focus fully on swimming. I don't think that's probably something that's going to be healthy for me anyway. So yeah, I think this type of program gives me those opportunities a little bit more, but it doesn't mean that we still can't go in and have good programming throughout the year and through the long course season, and give, kind of a progression throughout the whole year that helps athletes get better for the next year, so that maybe by the following summer, they're ready to hit trial times. So I think just having like a year-long progression is important. Progression's not always linear. So I think building the program and building ways for it to be successful that is unique to Georgetown is important. If we try to do things the way UVA has done it, or UNC Wilmington, like that's not necessarily going to be successful for us. So I'm still trying to figure that out a little bit. I'm still trying to figure out how to put things together really well through the spring and summer, so that our team can be successful and helps them be ready, even more prepared for the next year, and then the following year after. And we don't have a long course pool, so we got to figure out where we're swimming long course. But maybe in the Potomac River. I don't know. We'll find somewhere.
Extra long course.
Yeah.
That's great. That's also, I'm just now having fun with that visual, trying to train in the Potomac River, which I'm sure some people do.
Yeah. I don't know how clean it is, so I don't know if that's acceptable or
not. So then now, just looking ahead to the season starts today. First practice is today. What a couple questions to kind of wrap up on. What are you focused on with practices just in these first few weeks? What are they going to look like for you? And also looking at your meet schedule for this season, what competition do you have circled on the map as like, okay, this is one, not even that, we're resting or tapering for, but like, this is one I'm really excited for. And maybe we can just talk about the fall.
Yeah, we'll hit the fall. I mean, I think our first biggest meet is against Howard. It's the Battle of the Burr. That's the one that's,
of course,
definitely circled right away, that I'm really looking forward to, because I would see I've never been to it, but I've seen highlights on certain videos and everything, and I'm just like, wow, this is the type of energy that I want to be around at swim meets. So
absolutely.
yeah, we're really grateful for Howard and wanting to, have us be a part of it. They could pick other teams, but they, we've had this tradition with them for the last few years. Nick asked me if we want to still be involved, and I was like, heck yes. Like, this is what swimming and sports and that type of climate is what it's all about and what I'm aspiring for, even with some of our home meets. So yeah, looking forward to the Battle of the Burr. Hopefully it's just as hype as last year. I know like Kyle Sockwell and Rowdy Gaines were there and everything. So hopefully we can get some good special guests at the meet and keep the hype going for that type of meet. A couple weeks after that, in October, we have a meet against Villanova. So really excited for that weekend. It's probably going to be one of our alumni weekends, and we'll have a lot of parents in town. And Villanova is one of our conference rivals right now. Our guys have been ahead of them in the conference. Their women have been ahead of us. So it's just one of those classic, it's going to be, competitive on both sides. And there's going to be, hopefully not bad blood, but hopefully, I like a little bit of chirpiness here and there, or a little, animosity, just a little bit in a nice way, I guess.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I like the conference meets, and I think that's going to be pretty fun. And we should have a really good crowd for that. So, and then, yeah, I think, after that, we got pretty much mid-season, and we're going to West Virginia Invite. This team has never gone to that meet before. So we're going to a different mid-season meet and, different competition. So in a really nice pool. So I'm excited for that meet. And I think that's one of my goals, is to keep finding competition that, kind of keeps our program on our toes. Obviously the better the competition is probably more ideal. So keep finding teams, that we can face off against and put us in a better spot after the meet ends. What's cool about Georgetown is that, we do have so many schools right in our backyard. That's the great thing about the Northeast too, is like you drive an hour outside Georgetown, we have like 5 or 6 different programs we can go against. So, so I think that's always going to be important for us, to still have, those rivalries against some of those local teams. But yeah, I want to keep, putting the foot on the gas pedal and keep finding competition that's going to challenge us in different ways and try to mix it up a little bit, over the years. So I think like my goal is definitely, again, like putting this program on a national stage on the swim and dive side. We got to be the best in DC. So, that's kind of going to be my challenge. My call to our program is like, what do you think of, when you think of swim and dive in DC, what team are they going to think of? I want them to think of Georgetown. So we got a couple teams that, we'll go head to head with, and, I'm sure they'll have something to say about. So yeah, I'm excited about trying to really go head to head with some really good local teams in the area.
You've been listening to the Swim Swam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take Swim Swam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.